All right, so I'm going to do this warm up first. This is topic 3. It's just about solving equations. So this is a very important video. I wanted to make sure that I made it because a lot of the steps that we're going to show in this video are things that you're going to do throughout the entire year. So it's very important we understand all these different properties that we're going to use and how to go about solving this problem. So we're going to do the warm up, and then we're going to do several examples, and then I think that's about it. So when you see a problem like this and you see those parentheses, the number one thing to do is get rid of the parentheses. Now, we can't simplify inside the parentheses because what's inside the parentheses are not like terms. So what we're going to do is we're going to distribute the number that's being multiplied to the parentheses to the terms inside the parentheses. So the 3 is being multiplied to both of these terms. So we're going to distribute the 3 and multiply it to both of those terms. So first, 3 times 1 is going to make 3. And 3 times a negative 3x makes a negative 9x, because 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. That takes care of the left side. The left side's all good. No more parentheses. We're fine. Now we got to focus on the right side. So very similarly, we have the 2 being multiplied to both of these terms. So we're going to multiply 2 to both those terms. 2 times negative 4x will make negative 8x, and 2 times 7 makes 14. Positive 14, so plus 14. Let me fix my 8. That's not any better. How's that an 8? Okay, that's fine. All right. So now that we've distributed, now we got to combine our like terms. We got to combine these x terms. You know, there's more than one thing to do here. But ultimately, we are going to combine these x terms together, and we are going to combine the constant terms together as well. So I'm going to focus on the x terms. So I can either move this negative 8x to this side and have it join the negative 9x, or I can do the other thing and go the other way. It doesn't really matter. Either would work out just as well. I'm just going to go ahead and move the 9x. So since it's a negative 9x, subtracting 9x to get rid of it and to undo it, I would add 9x. So every time I'm trying to move terms around like this, I am going to do the inverse operation so that I can move it to the other side. Because now let's read what each side says, right? 3 minus 9x plus 9x. The left side, the 9x's are going to cancel out and leave us with just 3. On the right-hand side, though, I have my like terms. I have my 2x terms, negative 8x plus 9x that I can combine. Negative 8 plus 9 is 1, so we're just going to write 1x. The 14 is still just chilling over here, so we're just going to bring down that 14. So now that I've combined my x terms successfully, now I'm going to combine these constant terms. Since I have the x on the right side, I'm going to leave the x on the right side and try to move this term over here so that I can have the x all by itself on that right side. So since it's a positive 14, to move it, we'll have to do the opposite, which is going to be subtract 14. So that's going to make sure that the 14 cancels out. As you can see, the x is now going to be all by itself. And we simplify the left-hand side. 3 minus 14 is negative 11. So that is our final answer. X is equal to negative 11. So we're going to do multiple equations. We're going to do these as well. I feel like just showing you. If you want to pause the video at any time and try to finish these problems yourself, I very strongly encourage that. That's the only way you're going to really strengthen your skill, is by practicing on your own. But I'll work out the first couple, and if you want to try to work out the last 2 on your own, numbers 3 and 4 on your own, I would strongly advise. Okay, so let's look at the first one. So number 1, we have 4 times negative 8x plus 5 equal to negative 32x minus 26. So very similar to the last problem, we have the 4 being multiplied to these parentheses. So I'm going to multiply the 4 to both terms inside the parentheses. Just like I did in the warm-up, I had to distribute. I'm going to distribute again here. So when I multiply 4 to both of those terms, 4 times negative 8x becomes negative 32x. And then 4 times 5 makes 20. It's positive 20, so I'll put that plus 20. So let me bring down the other side terms. I didn't have to do anything to the other side, so I'm just going to leave it alone for now. But now, same thing as before, I'm going to try and combine my common terms. So my x terms, I'm going to try and put them together, and I'm going to try and do the same thing with my constant terms as well. So in this case, again, it doesn't matter which term you move to what side. I'll take this 32x on the left and move it to the right. So the opposite of negative 32x is positive 32x. So I'm going to add 32x to both sides. What I'm doing is canceling out the one over here. All right, so now the left side, without the negative 32x, the left side will just have 20. But now I've got to combine my x terms on the right. So on the right side, I have negative 32x plus 32x. Now something interesting happens in this case because it's the exact same thing that happens on the left side. Negative 32 plus 32 is 0. So these x's also cancel out. There's no more x's in this problem at all because essentially this is saying 0 x's. So if there are 0 x's, then there are no x's. So those actually cancel out too, which leaves us with only the negative 26. So now we have an interesting thing. It says 20 is equal to negative 26. Now we know that this is not true. There's no x term here left over. We're just left with this statement. And since this statement is false, our conclusion is that for x, there are no solutions. Because our statement is false, we have no solutions. There's nothing that I can do about x. There's no number that I can plug in for x that would make this equation work. No number at all. So that's a very interesting case. But let's look at number 2. That's the only one of these problems, by the way, that works that way. I believe the other 3 problems on this slide are a bit... They work out. They have a number answer. They're all good. They don't have that wacky no solution thing going on. All right, so let's look at number 2. We have 4n minus 40 equal to 7, and then negative 2n plus 2. So again, I see those parentheses. I see 7 times those parentheses. So just like before, I'm going to have to take that 7, distribute to both of the terms inside the parentheses. Going to multiply it to both of the terms inside the parentheses. So when I do that, I will have 7 times negative 2n. 7 times negative 2n is negative 14n. And I also have to do 7 times 2. 7 times 2 is 14. So again, since it's positive, I'll put plus 14. The left-hand side, I didn't have any parentheses, didn't have to simplify anything. So I'm just going to leave it alone for now, unchanged. And now I'm going to focus on combining my terms. So again, our goal is to combine these n terms together by either moving this one over to the left side or moving the 4n over to the right side. It doesn't make a difference. And then after we do that, we'll also try to combine the constant terms together as well. So let's focus on the n's. So since this is a negative 14n, I'm just going to choose that one because I know to get rid of it, I would make it positive. So I can add 14n to both sides. Now what that's going to do is, again, on the right side, it's going to cancel out the 14n. So the only thing on the right side will just be the regular 14. Now on the left side, I'm going to combine my n terms, right? 4n plus 14n. So 4 plus 14 is 18n. And of course, the negative 40 is just still there, just chilling. We're going to bring him down. All right, so since I have the n over here and I'm trying to solve for n, let's move our negative 40 to the right-hand side so that we can work our way towards getting the n by itself. So since I have that as minus 40, I will have to add 40 to cancel it out. So what that's going to leave me with the 40 disappearing on the left-hand side, the left-hand side will just be 18n since I got rid of that 40. On the right-hand side, I got to put that 40 with that 14. So 14 plus 40 makes 54. So now, I don't know why the screen always glitches like that, but it does. So now I have 18 times n equal to 54. So in order to find out what n is going to be, I'm going to undo this 18. Since 18 is being multiplied to n, I can undo it by dividing by 18. So when I do this, when I divide by 18, I'm canceling it out because 18 divided by 18 is just 1. So it leaves me with just 1n rather than 18n. And on the right-hand side, I also do that division, but I simplify it. So 54 divided by 18, grab a little calculator. I believe this is 3. We have our answer. 1n equals 3. N is equal to 3. And that's the problem. So if you would like, you can certainly stop the screen, pause the video, and work out number 3 and 4. I've done all the explaining that I need to do because these problems are all the same steps, so I won't necessarily walk you through them. But if you would like to stop the video, pause the video, and work those out, and then I will work the problems out as well, and you can check your work. But I won't go through the full process of explaining it just because I don't want to keep the video. I want to keep the video rather short. I don't want it to linger on for like 30 minutes, 40 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and work out 3 and 4. So you can check your answer if you wanted to pause the screen and try yourself. All right, so let me write down the answers for you. And like I said, you can check your work. So when you do this, we'll distribute. We'll have, I'm going to bring this down, 38 plus 7k equal to, this will be 8k plus 32. So I'm going to combine my k's. I'm going to go ahead and move this one. Now, you might have done a different step if you tried this out on your own. You might have decided to move the 8k over. And if you did, that's fine. We'll have to still see if you get the same result. But I'm moving the 7k, so that's going to leave me 38 equal to 1k plus 32. And so now I'm just going to move the 32. That'll go away. 38 minus 32 is 6. 6 is equal to 1k. And there's your result. So k equals 6 is the answer to number 3. Let me go ahead and do number 4 for you as well, so that if you did work it out, you can check to see if you did a good job or not. All right. So we have negative 3, x plus 1, or I'm sorry, x minus 1, plus 8, x minus 3 equals 6x plus 7 minus 5. Okay, this is pretty full. This is pretty long. All right, so we're going to distribute. So it'll be negative 3x and then positive 3 because a negative times a negative there is going to make a positive 3. Distribute the 8. We're going to have 8x and negative 24 equal to, I'm going to go ahead and combine these x terms, the 6x and the minus 5. 6 minus 5 is 1. So combining those, it's just going to be 1x and then bring that plus 7 with it. So if I continue this, I can combine a couple like terms. The left-hand side, I have these x terms. Negative 3 plus 8 is going to be 5x, just combining those. And the 3 minus 24 is negative 21, just going to combine those. Now, I'm not doing any inverse operations. Another common mistake is people will do like plus 3x, thinking that they can combine these x terms by doing the opposite. Now, the inverse operation, doing this whole inverse operation thing is only going to work if you move the term to the other side of the equal sign. It's not working if you keep it on the same side of the equal sign. So both of these terms are on the left. So you just combine them like a normal, just like normal math. Negative 3 plus 8 is negative 3 plus 8. It's 5. So if they're on the same side, you don't have to do any sort of tricks. You just kind of combine what you see. Just like I did with the numbers. 3 minus 24. I didn't try to do any inverse stuff. They're on the same side. They're on the same team. I just stuck them together. So to continue this problem, I'm going to move this x from the right to the left so I can get rid of it here. Just have 7 here. 5 minus 1 is going to be 4x, bringing down my minus 21. I'll add 21 so I can get rid of that. Have 4x equal to 28. And then let me write it over here. 4x equal to 28. I will divide by 4 to cancel out 4. And we'll have x equals 7. 28 divided by 4 is 7. And that is our result. All right, I'm going to just, well, let's look at this example 5 real quick. And just so you have the information, then I'll end the video. So Lacoste Middle School surveyed its student population about their favorite mobile apps. 786 students listed Facebook as their favorite app, represented 32 fewer students than 2 times the number of students who listed Instagram as their favorite app. How many students listed Instagram as their favorite app? This is very tricky to set up, but if you just think about it in terms of, try to approach this with a common sense mentality. Don't just try to think of it as a bunch of numbers and plus signs and minus signs and stuff. Think of it like this, okay? So 786 students like Facebook, right? Now, this is, as they say, 32 fewer students than 2 times the number of students who like Instagram. So basically, if I add 32 to this, right, because it's 32 fewer. So if you're 32 fewer, then you would need 32 more to get that balance. Is that right? Like if I was short $20, I would have to add $20 so that I can be level again. So 786 plus the 32 is going to be the same as what's 2 times the number of students who like Instagram. So whatever Instagram is, multiply it by 2, and that's that result. So there's your equation. You have 786, add the 32 to it so that you're balanced, and that's going to be the same as double, 2 times the number of students who listed Instagram as their favorite. So this is how I would set it up using my sort of common sense type of approach, just sort of reading the problem and trying to understand what it says. And now it's pretty simple to solve. 786 plus 32, I don't know, what is that? Let's see, 14, 18, what is that? 818, I think. And then divide by 2. And whatever that is. So I believe that's 409 is equal to X then. So that tells us that there are 409 students who listed Instagram as their favorite app. All right, guys, I'm going to end the video here. I'll see you guys next time, okay? Later.